Well, shalom, everybody. Welcome back to This, That, and the Other with Mully. I'm Mully, Yahuwah's obedient daughter. He likes to stretch me outside my comfort zone, and he's double whammying me today. He knows I don't like PowerPoints, and he knows I don't particularly care for making videos. But I'm here because it has been brought to my attention that Yahuwah's date of birth is given to us directly in Scripture, and we didn't catch it. Until recently, a brother brought it to my attention, and we will get to that as we go through. It has a lot to do with understanding Yahuwah's calendar. So, Yahuwah Baruch Atah, and I'm going to try and get us through this as quickly and painlessly as possible. Today is the 26th day of the second month, the year 5783, also known to those of you on the Gregorian calendar as May 16th, 2023. So we're going to start with some of the things that the Council of Laodicea did. If you're on my Facebook, you know I don't particularly think very highly of these people. Um, just as a side note, that happens to be the location of that last large earthquake that hit in Turkey, Iskar. That's where the Council of Laodicea met. Give you an idea that Abba's probably getting a little bit annoyed. They removed 43 books from the original Bible, including the Gospels of Paul and the book of Revelation. So they kept their name out of things, and they changed the Kodesh Sabbath, something that was never supposed to happen. So if you call Sunday your day of rest, you're doing that not at the Father's command, but at the church's command. Here's what Yahuwah had to say to the messenger of the assembly of the Laodiceans. The messenger is the watcher of the assembly of the Laodiceans. There's the angel that's supposed to take care of and oversee that area. Thus says the eternal, the trustworthy and true witness, and the source of the creation of Yahuwah. I know your works, you are neither cold nor hot, because it is necessary that you be either cold or hot. And because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I am going to vomit you from my mouth. So think about that. They self-fulfilled the prophecy by removing Abba's words from the texts, by changing the calendars, by changing the dates of worship, and hiding the proof that they were in error. The Gregorian calendar that you go by, that we're all wrapped into, has only been around since 1582. That was started by the Catholic Church's Pope Gregory the 13th as a reform to the Julian calendar. And the Julian calendar had only been around since 40 BC-ish, sometime during the lifetime of Julius Caesar. Neither one are very old, and we're using a calendar that's only 700 years old. On a note to that, it took up until the late 1800s for the last church area to accept the Gregorian calendar, and memory serves it was Greece that was the last one to go along with that calendar. So what does Yahushua have to say about the doctrines of man, which is taking away the calendar, which is teaching a different calendar, which is changing the words of Scripture. Hypocrites, Isaiah correctly prophesied about you, saying, "This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far, far away from me, and they worship Yahuwah in vain, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men." So when we look at Yahshua's birthday on the ecumenical calendar that's tied to the Gregorian calendar, we're also in error. And I'm trying to be very kind here. I want to take a moment and thank Darla for introducing me to the calendar that belongs to Yahuwah, so that and the importance of keeping the feasts, because it was never changed. And I owe her for introducing me to that for deeper study. In the book of Ecclesiasticus, removed by the Council of Trent when they developed the Protestant Reformation Church, we have the moon is the sign of feasts, a light that decreases in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. And I'm not trying to turn this into a calendar teaching, because really that's a lot of accumulated knowledge. But I want you to understand that there's a reason for keeping the calendars separate, and that Yahuwah's feast days are based off of his calendar, not the 700-year-old calendar that we use now. Another quick shout out to Leah. If you're on my Facebook, you know I use the word moonth when I'm referring to Yahuwah's calendar. This is the verse why. The moon is the sign of the feasts, and the moonth is called after her name. And it helps me in my head, and I think it helps other people as well, to refer to Yahuwah's calendars, first month, second month, third month, to keep it separate from either the Zadok calendar or the Gregorian calendar. And so, Leah, thank you for giving me that term and helping me keep things separated. Now, let's get to the meat of the subject. A brother of mine, about a month or so ago, posted something on his Facebook page that really caught my attention. I've been going through the books of Jasher and Jubilees, and I'll admit I'm looking for discrepancies because I want to know more. And the best way to know more is to compare things. He brought to my attention that Isaac was born in the third month. Excuse me. Well, Brother Ruach taught me that, pointed something out in Luke that we're going to get to in a minute. But while I was going through Jasher and Jubilees, I realized that there was a lot in common with what he was saying, and it all jumped out at me. And I said, well, Yahuwah, there's something here to this. And I started paying a little closer attention, and he has pressured me to the point that I can't get anything else done until I get this done. So here we are. A little bit of precedence for where we're going to end up at. In the middle of the 6th month, right here, Yahuwah visited Sarah and did unto her as he had spoken. He told Sarah that when she was still Sarai, that she would bear a child. So it finally happened. Pay attention here. The 6th month. And she conceived, and she bare a son in the 3rd month. And in the middle of the month, at the time of which Yahuwah had spoken to Abraham, on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest, Isaac was born. So we're putting two things to rest here. Festival of the first fruits is in the middle of the third month. Middle of the third month. There's no extra 50 days. It's in the middle of the third month. 7 Shabbats complete after Feast of Matzah, which follows the Pesach in the first month, plus a day. So there's no extra 50 days here. The middle of the month is the festival of the first fruits. But what we're going to focus on is that Isaac was born in the third month after having been conceived in the sixth month. This is simply a precedence of when Judah was born. He was born on the 15th day of the third month. So we have Isaac and we have Judah, both being born in the middle of the third month. All right, let's get to the Peshitta and to what happened with the whole thing around Mary, because I'm not going to say our pastors lied to us, but our pastors' teachers lied to us, and because they have no understanding of the calendar, they didn't understand what they were seeing, so they made it fit the understanding that they had been told. We've all done it. We've all done it. So we're going to go through this a little bit, and I hope I make it make sense to you. In Luke chapter 1, verses 24 and 25. And a shout out to my mongoose for working me through this the other day, because she is tenacious with all things calendar related. Now after these days, his wife Elizabeth conceived, and she kept herself in seclusion for 5 months, saying, Thus Yahuwah has done for me in the days in which he has concerned himself with me, to take away my disgrace among people. Remember, Elizabeth had been barren. She was the wife of a Levite, Zechariah, and she had never borne any children to him. That was embarrassing. She was getting up there in years. It was hard for her. But she'd kept herself hidden for 5 months. And I'm only bringing this up because, and here it is, glaring right in our faces, and we never saw it. Because in the 6th month, Gabriel, the messenger, the angel, was sent from the presence of Yahuwah to Galilee, to the city whose name was Nazareth. And he told Mary that you're going to have a son. And in those days, Mary arose, and she went instantly to the mountains to a city in Judea to visit Elizabeth. So in the 6th month, the same as, yep, that's right, the 6th month, the same time that Sarah was visited by a messenger, most likely Gabriel. In the 6th month, not the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, like we were always told, although that's possible also. It was only 2 verses ahead of there. But in the 6th month, now that we're keeping Yahuwah's calendar, all right, in the 6th month, Gabriel, the angel, was sent to Mary, and she went to go visit Elizabeth. What happened when she got to Elizabeth? She cried with a loud voice, and she said to Miriam, You are blessed among women, and blessed is the fruit that is in your womb. So as soon as Gabriel visited her, she became pregnant. And by the time she got from Bethlehem to Judea, from Nazareth to Judea, she was pregnant in the 6th month. So, I can keep this short. If Isaac was conceived in the 6th month and born in the 3rd month, then it stands to reason that if Yahushua was conceived in the 6th month, that he too was born in the 3rd month. We have precedence from Isaac and Judah's births being on Shavuot, indicating it as a very strong possibility that Yahushua was born on Feast of First Fruits. Now, I know. Everybody says, no, he was born in Sukkot because he came and tabernacled with us. Well, that's Trinitarian doctrine teaching, and that's a whole nother ball of wax. But do some research and find out how the churches came up with that Trinitarian doctrine, and pay attention when you're reading scripture, and you'll see that the Trinitarian doctrine was yet another lie. So Yahushua had Yahuwah in him, just as you and I do through the Ruach HaKodesh for my friends in the Hebrew side, Ruach Kodeshah for my friends who prefer the Aramaic like I do. But anyway, that is another teaching entirely, a whole nother subject, and I'm hoping somebody else takes that upon themselves and I don't get stuck with it too, because I'm busy. But I can't guarantee you that Yahushua was born on Shavuot, on the Feast of First Fruits, but I can guarantee you that he was born in the 3rd month because he was conceived in the 6th month, just like Isaac was. So there's our program for today. Let me show you. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, this is where I get my information. If you're interested in looking into the Apocrypha that was removed, there is a full list of the books that were removed originally. And you can figure out from there what's still missing. Some of it's in the ones that are in the Catholic canon never got removed, but then the Protestants put a few books back, and they put the Gospels of Paul back and Revelation and made a mess of everything. So the Bible has been tampered with, and we can only do the best we can. But the Reluctant Messenger was where I found that full list. Calendar.com can give you a complete history of the Gregorian, Julian calendars, etc., etc. MyJewishLearning.com had some pretty interesting stuff on how the Jewish canon was created in around 300 years BC. So I'm throwing that in here for you. If you want access to the complete Apocrypha along with tons of other books, good, bad, and otherwise, Global Gray Books has an excellent set of downloads, hundreds of books at your fingertips. She's asking, I think it was £10 to be able to access and download everything as a gift. You can still go there and just access the books. But she has the testaments of the 12 heads of the tribes. She's got Jasher, Jubilees, Enoch, the lost books of Adam and Eve. Pretty much anything you can think of that has been removed from us for these end days, she has it there in her website. So I'm throwing that a shout out as well. Trying to think, did I forget anybody or anything? Let me know what you think. Feel free to ask questions, leave comments, respectable arguments. And let's see how far we can take this. Shalom and Yahuwah Baruch Atah.